Senate Democrats today tried in vain to pass a law establishing a binding code of conduct and recusal for members of the Supreme Court, 9 of whom are currently accountable to no one but themselves. I mean, all 9 of them.
This is a crisis in ethics at the Supreme Court that the Supreme Court itself has created.
The Supreme Court Ethics, Recusal, and Transparency Act failed as a litany of Republicans lined up to impugn the bill. It's yet another failed attempt to hold Justices Samuel Alito and Clarence Thomas accountable for recent behavior that reeks of unrestrained political partisanship. This comes as many Americans have lost faith in the impartiality of the court amid a string of politically motivated decisions and a litany of ethical scandals involving unreported luxury gifts and trips provided to justices by wealthy Republican donors who have or had cases before the court. The majority of those scandals were uncovered by the independent reporting of ProPublica. Well, yesterday, a new surreptitious recording of Justice Alito was released. This time, Alito was attacking the work of ProPublica. Ali Samarco, a colleague of progressive journalist Lauren Windsor, who also attended the Supreme Court Historical Society annual dinner on June 3rd, asked the justice about the recent coverage of their ethical lapses.
I just wanted to ask you, why do you think the Supreme Court is being so attacked and being so targeted by the media these days?
Well, I think it's a simple reason. They don't like our decisions, and they don't like how they anticipate we may decide some cases that are coming up. That's the beginning and the end of it. And there are groups that are very well funded by ideological groups that have spearheaded these attacks. That's what it is.
Like who? Sorry.
ProPublica gets a lot of money, and they have spent a fortune investigating Clarence Thomas. Everything that he's ever done in his entire life. And they've done some of that to me too. But they look for any little thing they can find, and they try to make sense of it. They start the dinner at 7. That's what it is.
Okay, let me pause for a second and just say that Justice Alito, as a supposed constitutional scholar, should understand that the First Amendment protects the free exercise of speech and the press. Additionally, I will note that those little things he's complaining about amounted to roughly $2.5 million in expenses over the past 20 years that he and Thomas sometimes begrudgingly reported only after ProPublica exposed them. Joining me now is Melissa Murray, law professor at New York University and MSNBC legal analyst. Melissa, your thoughts on Mr. Alito's outrage about ProPublica?
I mean, Justice Alito is famously defensive, and he often goes to outlets like the Wall Street Journal to talk about how he's being persecuted and that he's being criticized. I mean, this is life. As a public figure, you're going to be criticized, and he should know that. ProPublica, to my knowledge, is not overly well-funded. They're a bunch of journalists, and they went looking for any kind of discrepancy among any of the justices. They weren't targeting Justice Thomas. They weren't targeting Justice Alito. They were just generally looking. They received a bunch of redacted documents from the Marshal Service with different trips that the justices took, and then they just started piecing it together, and it turned out, lo and behold, that most of these trips on private jets were for only a handful of the justices. Right. And that's what they reported. And it's hard to say, like, that's not fair game. And if you don't report this stuff, if you don't disclose it, you're kind of asking for it.
Disclose it. And the thing is that I feel like everything about this court is unprecedented. We've never had a leak of a Supreme Court ruling. It appears that maybe, there's some theory that he might have leaked it or someone around him to try to make sure no one got offside. We've never had a story about people saying that they were able to get an advance warning of a ruling, as some activists said that they knew that they were going to get the ruling on Hobby Lobby, and that seems to have revolved around him as well. And then there's this, and then there's what happened with Clarence Thomas. He's in the middle of a lot of these scandals, or at least he's tangentially related to them. So I don't know why he's surprised that he's getting more scrutiny.
Well, I mean, that's the puzzling thing. I mean, this is a court that has gone from being a bare 5-4 majority to a 6-3 conservative supermajority, and suddenly the decisions start looking really different,
Predictable.
much more extreme, much more predictable. And people have questions. People have concerns. They see these justices palling around with billionaire donors, like an emotional support billionaire, if you will, and they have questions, and rightly so. And that's the point of a free press, to be able to serve as a check on the excesses of government when the internal mechanisms of government fail to check themselves.
The other piece is that we're supposed to have a set of government where each body sort of guards its own power against the others, and they don't work in symbiosis, right? But I want you to listen to the way that Republican lawmakers sound, and then compare that in your mind to the way Alito sounded in speaking with this activist. Take a listen.
Let's be clear, this is not about improving the court. This is about undermining the court.
I do not believe that most of my colleagues think this bill is about ethics. This bill is about abortion.
What we have is that people on the left have a couple of cases currently pending before the Supreme Court of the United States, cases that they're worried about the outcome.
Justice Alito, they don't like our decisions, and they don't like how they anticipate how we may decide some cases that are coming up. Here's what's different. Justice Kennedy, Sotomayor, you go through it. You name any justice, even Scalia, they didn't give interviews, so you never knew how they sounded, but they also didn't sound exactly like Republican politicians. Alito gives a lot of interviews. He talks a lot to friendly news outlets like the Wall Street Journal, and he sounds just like these people.
He sounds like a Fox News grandpa
Yes,
half
he does.
the time. So, there's that. I just want to be clear. I'm not surprised by the Republicans falling in line on this and acting like this is somehow connected to the substance of the court's rulings. That's their court. That court is able to do all of the things that Republican minority in the Senate cannot do through ordinary majoritarian politics, because the American public isn't with them. But the court is with them, and through the court, all things are possible. So they're going to protect that court at all costs.
Of course.
What encourages me about this move from the Democrats is that it's the first really clear sign from the Democrats that they are trying to connect the fact of this court to the electoral process, and to show, like, they know this law has no chance of being passed. But they're making clear to their constituents, we get that you are outraged about this court.
Yeah.
But we can't do anything about this court with a narrow majority in the Senate. We can't impeach justices for their misconduct,
Correct.
and we can't get this bill passed. You want something done about this court, whether it's this kind of sort of mid-level court reform or something more expansive, then you need to get out, you need to vote, and you need to show up, not just about the ordinary issues, but about this court and the existential threat it poses.